Division 1, what's your condition report?
Got the spot fires under control, but this is, we're gonna need every unit available.
Copy that. Any survivors?
I don't think anyone could have lived through this.
Okay, Division 1, 3 more units en route. Stand by.
Morgan!
I swear.
We call this the riot gun. It's a compressed air gun. It was developed by law enforcement to fire tear gas bullets and pepper spray. But we're using it to fire marbles at high speed to shatter the windows on this SUV.
Action!
This one's called a Sheridan. This has got dust balls in it and spark balls. And when they hit solid objects, you either get a little puff of dust or you get a bright spark if you hit metal.
Action!
Pretty harmless. I wouldn't want to get hit with one, but...
Prentice, get out!
Next on Shooting Gallery. We've talked a lot about how guns make it to the movies or to television. That's only part of the equation. That's the hardware part of the equation. And maybe that's the simplest part of the equation, because the hard part is getting us to suspend our disbelief. We're watching actors, specially modified firearms, but we need to believe. So when we have a series like Criminal Minds, where the actors are playing the role of FBI agents and they have to fire their guns in the line of fire, in the line of duty, we need to believe. We need to believe that it's real bullets hitting real things. And that's the job of Tom. He's the man who makes the illusions of the bullets hitting, of the explosions, of glass breaking. And we're going to see actually how that works. You don't realize how important paintball type guns have become to the industry. Tom, studio effects, this is the things that you guys do. You actually provide the bullet hits.
Right.
And the bullet hits come from paintball guns.
Correct, correct.
Check out this steampunk bad boy right here.
This is called a Sweeney gun. This is the precursor to paintball guns that we use a lot in special effects work. This was the industry standard before there was ever paintball guns. This was all handmade, every bit of it. That's what everybody used, you know, back in the day. This is a little later model. This is called a Sheridan. This is my boss's favorite gun. It's not very fancy. It only does one thing. It's you know, one shot at a time, but it's pretty
precise.
Yeah, it's pretty foolproof.
You could do a good aiming job with this.
Most of the guns are accurate to within, you know, 50 or 60 feet. And then after that, you get a lot of drop off, and because they're balls, they tend to kind of spiral and do crazy things after about 50 or 60 feet. So
They get smaller, they get easier to deal with.
this is a Tipman. This is a little later model, same thing. It just does semi-automatic as fast as you can pull the trigger, but a little smaller, a little more compact.
Now this is actually, it began life as an F&H riot control tool.
Yeah, this was developed by law enforcement, and it's based on the same technology. It runs off of a nitrogen tank, and takes a drum magazine. But this was designed to fire rubber balls and also paintballs, which are like a soft gelatin capsule, but it had capsicum fluid in it, like pepper spray, and it was designed for crowd control and riots. We use it a lot. We fire marbles out of it to break windows and glass because it's got a much more punch than the standard paintball guns.
Let's step outside and see how these actually work.
Okay.
So Tom, what we've got here is lots of bullet hits, right? and the color depends on what you're shooting at. So if you're shooting at a black wall.
Right, exactly. This is the specialized ammo, and these are what we call dust hits. So each one of these is it's a hard acrylic ball as opposed to a soft gelatin ball like a paintball. So when they hit, they shatter, and like this one's got black dust if you're shooting asphalt. This one's a zeolite, it's just kind of a white powder like chalk.
And these guys are sparkling balls.
Right, these are spark hits.
Sparking balls.
Yeah, these are filled with a substance called zirconium. So when it hits something solid, the ball shatters and you get a spark. You get a big bright white spark. This is great because it requires no setup and no reset. So you can shoot a lot faster and you can improvise, and just kind of roll with it as the director comes up with ideas.
Hopefully you haven't hit a lot of actors.
Right. Well, the deal I always make with them is I tell them that if I hit them, they get to hit me twice.
So Tom, how does this work?
Okay, so this is called a propane fantail. This is what we use to simulate fire effects in burning buildings or burning cars or something like that. It's just propane gas. It goes through a pipe and then it goes into that steel fantail and spreads the gas out.
Crank it up and see how this thing
Yeah,
moves.
so we just open the valve and I got a little pilot light burning there, and then we bring it up slow. There we go.
So you would use this anytime you're simulating fire, anything is burning?
Exactly, burning building, burning burning car, field on fire. We'd have these fantails, or we'd have long pipes with holes drilled in them if we need to get a big long run of fire, and it's all infinitely controllable. I can dial it down, and I can shut it off with a flip of a switch.
How would you set it off on the set?
Well, something like this works good if, say somebody's knocked the valve off of a gas pipe, and the building's filling up with gas, and then the bad guy fires the gun into it, and it sparks, and whoosh. The thing that got me into this, and the reason I like my job so much, is I consider myself a creative person. I don't draw, I don't paint, I don't sculpt, I don't play musical instruments or anything like that, but I do have a great deal of creativity in me, and my creativity comes out in problem solving. We read a script, or the director says, this is what I want to see, figure it out. How are you going to do this? Safely and cost effectively and time effectively, and that's what I really like. And a lot of times it really involves thinking outside the box and, kind of turning something on its head to come up with a solution. The bank explosion at the end of season 6 was probably the most complicated thing that I've ever been part of. I've been involved in bigger explosions, but there was a lot of moving parts to that whole sequence that made it much more complicated, much more difficult, and more challenging. And so I'm really proud of that one. I'd say we've probably blown up 8 or 10 vehicles, 2 or 3 buildings, filled a lot of things full of bullet holes. set a lot of things on fire. You know, when you finally get down to the final minutes, when you've got everything hooked up and you're going through your checklist and you make sure everybody's safe, you know, and everybody's in the right place, everything's exactly the way it should be. It's like the very last thing you ask yourself is, what will I tell the judge?